I'll be brief. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to present the views of law enforcement against prohibition. My name is Chad Padgett, and I am a disabled resident of Indiana. I'm a former correctional youth service officer and a father of 2 teenagers and a kindergartner. I am here on behalf of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, a U.S.-based international organization made up of current police officers, undercover officers, former police officers, federal agents, sheriffs, judges, prosecutors, probation, parole officers, correctional officers, and other law enforcement personnel. We oppose dangerous drug use. However, we oppose the drug war even more. I'm here to urge you to make positive changes regarding Indiana's marijuana laws. Why? Because marijuana prohibition does not work, and it never has. As alcohol prohibition has showed, making a drug illegal is the single most effective way to put it in the control of violent gangs and drug cartels. By prohibiting marijuana, government gives up the right to control and regulate its production, distribution, and consumption. If marijuana was brought above ground as a legal industry, we could regain control over it in these aspects: where marijuana can be sold, where it can be, who it can be sold to, who can buy it, at what purity, and with what licenses. Under the prohibition model, marijuana is said to be America's largest cash crop. We seize it by the ton, we prosecute it by the gram, yet this approach has never worked. Marijuana is cheaper and easier to access, especially for teens, now more so than ever. We should study the idea of regulating and putting the cartels out of business by taking away their immense profits. We must reevaluate the marijuana laws and consider alternative approaches that will work to combat drug abuse and keep marijuana out of the hands of children. Indiana must get to the heart of the prohibition problem, and use the criminal code and correction system intelligently. Changing our marijuana laws can do the following. A, make marijuana harder for children and teenagers to access by establishing rules and regulations, as opposed to the current system where drug dealers don't ask for ID. B, save police and court resources by making marijuana possession a civil infraction or eliminating penalties altogether. And C, take the profit out of the drug business to eliminate tragic and unnecessary illegal drug market violence and crime. We can have safe streets or marijuana prohibition, but we can't have both. We can prioritize violent crime and preserve horribly expensive and limited prison space for those who injure, kill, steal, and cheat others. Or we can continue to prioritize a war on drugs, which, like I've said, is unsuccessful by any measure. The committee's reexamination of the so-called war on drugs is to be commended and mirrors the actions of citizens and our legislators across America, who are also reexamining the second great experiment with the prohibition. 16 states and the District of Columbia have legalized medical marijuana by initiative or legislation action, just like others have said today. Medical marijuana legislation is pending in many other states. Michigan's legalization of medical marijuana has broken the ice here in the Midwest. The people have learned that a law prohibiting marijuana is no greater folly than a law outlawing dandelions or gravity. It's a law prohibiting that can be passed, but just saying so doesn't make it so. And LEAP urges you to launch drug policy reform in Indiana. Let the police use their limited resources to focus on violent crimes, restore the priorities of the criminal justice system and good judgment, starting now with an end to marijuana prohibition. Thank you.